Well, it's pretty close to a minute. I think we're going to go ahead and get things started here today. So first and foremost, I just want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here today. We're so glad to have you join us here at Athenium Analytics and with Aon to talk about claim signal, something that we're really, really excited about. So thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day to join us so we can talk about this. I'm going to be the host of today's webinar. My name is Cyrena Arnold, and I am the Vice President of Customer Success at Athenium Analytics. Now, I've been with the company for over 5 years now, and I lead our account management team and am helping our customers on a daily basis to answer their questions and solve their problems. Former Director of Operations at the Mount Washington Observatory, and I've done a lot of meteorological field work. And the only reason I mention this is because I kind of geek out over some of the details sometimes and some of the science behind some of these solutions that we have. And so if I do get excited about some statistics or things like that, you absolutely know why. But I am joined today, my partner in crime is Mike Cummings from Aon. And Mike, why don't you go ahead and introduce a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Cyrena, and thanks everyone. As Cyrena said, thanks for joining us. We're very excited about both the partnership as well as our claim signal product that we're going to run through today. So, Cyrena, your background is really interesting. Mine is still not as interesting, coming from the insurance industry. But I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night, so, so that makes me maybe interesting for today, right? Really, my background is strictly insurance, specifically in claims. So I actually started as an adjuster and a claims manager for a mutual insurance company up in the Northeast, and then have been working, with IBM, putting in claim systems over the number of years with Guidewire and other package solutions. And in the last 12 years, I've been with Aon Inpoint, really working with customers on the consulting side to identify areas for improvement, both on the quality side, but really operationally. And that's part of kind of the experience that we bring as a consulting firm that we'll talk about in a minute, that really makes this partnership kind of hum between both of our organizations. So, but very pleased to be here with you all today, and looking forward to talking to you about Claim Signal. So.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you so much, Mike. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of today's agenda. So we're going to give an introduction to ourselves and to the company and talk a little bit about this new collaboration. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of questions out there about just exactly how did this come to be and what are you guys doing? So we're going to look to answer that today. We also want to talk about the benefits there are of analyzing open claims. We're going to talk about some of the details that Claim Signal has to offer, and then what you need if you find this interesting. What are you going to need to onboard? What kind of system requirements are there? And then we're also going to have some time at the end for audience Q&A. Now, if you have questions as we go, go to webinar. The question box on the right side of your screen should have an area where you can put questions in. Put them in while you're thinking of them as we go along here. So we've got some wonderful people behind the scenes that are going to be compiling those and sending those to us here at the end, so we'll be able to address those. So as you have those questions, definitely go ahead and submit them. Don't feel like you have to wait till the end. So with that, let's go on. And Mike, we're going to have you begin by talking a little bit about Aon.
Yeah, thanks, Cyrena. So, I know there's a lot of Athenium customers, there's a lot of our customers that are joining the webinar, as well as clients, probably people that don't even know about us. So, kind of a background of who we are. So, Aon Inpoint, we were started as a consulting firm within Aon over 10 years ago, and really our specialty started looking at claims operations. And a lot of the folks that are in our group have come from industry, executives at different insurance companies in the claims space, as well as the consulting arena. So we really focus in on what is the best-in-class claims operations and how can we help clients to achieve best-in-class or get as close as you can to improving your operation. And so what we've really gotten into over the years and how one of our software products came to be was really looking at quality and understanding within claims handling, where are the missteps that happen across the claims process. And we've been able to kind of extract at a root cause level those areas where an operation needs to improve, and then partner with a lot of clients and put our fees at stake to achieve some of those improvements within their operation. So, really some really good results from a lot of clients, over 2 points of really sustainable loss improvement, ratio improvement, based on a lot of the work that we've done in the past. And I think it's that consulting background, kind of expertise in the claim space, that we kind of bring to the partnership here with Athenium. So.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. That's a really great introduction. And so on the flip side of that, then with Athenium Analytics, we've been helping clients measure, mitigate, and manage risk across claims, underwriting, quality assurance for a very long period of time. We've been doing it for claims and underwriting since 2012. We've been doing it for QA since 1997. And so we're servicing 52% of the nation's top 25 carriers. We've got over 60,000 users of Team Think. So we were formerly Weather Analytics. We acquired Athenium, and so it's really great to see how we've been able to grow as an organization and how we're leveraging big data and predictive analytics and artificial intelligence and see the evolution here as we go along. And it's just so great to see Aon be this next step of this evolution. So with that, Mike, let's talk a little bit about the partnership and how it came to be.
Yeah, this is something that we've been kind of discussing as organizations over the last 6 months, and it kind of came together. But really what we saw within the marketplace is our ability, both organizations' ability to kind of take a lot of QA data and really looking at where operations have struggled in the past to improve their operation, and really kind of zero in on different areas to improve operationally the claims process. We still are actually competitors with our base products, both Team Think and Claims Monitor. So that doesn't necessarily change our relationship, but what I think it does for us as a partnership or collaboration, it helps improve us looking at this space of claims and claims quality and coming up with ideas of really trying to improve the overall process. So we as Aon, we actually developed a product called ClaimsMonitor.x or CMX. So some of our clients are on the phone might have heard of that product and seen that product. So we developed that almost a year ago. Now we have it in place with a number of clients. And really the Claim Signal product is leveraging that base technology, but really bringing together the big data and predictive analytics capabilities that Athenium has into this space. We've been really good on the natural language process side of identifying through claim notes where things are going wrong, but really combining the big data piece with all our claims data, quality data is really going to be impactful for all of our products. And there's obviously other opportunities, I think, through the collaboration around consulting opportunities, as well as benchmarking. We collectively have a lot of quality data through all of our customers, and we see that as an asset to the industry in being able to identify ways to improve. So those are kind of really some of the overall reasons why we thought as both organizations to come together and make a product that's really going to be impactful for the marketplace.
Yeah, and I like how you describe it. It kind of gives me that Venn diagram image in my head where I think about, the Aon circle, and I think about the claims history and, sort of being that, that go-to person, for the industry to get answers to questions and dive into more details. And I think about Athenium Analytics in our circle and our strong background in data analytics and data processing and AI. And then you sort of have that sliver in the middle, right, of the Venn diagram where Claim Signal really comes from. And so it's really being able to take both of those and bring those together to come up with something beautiful. And I kind of like how you hit a little bit on the elephant in the room here, right? Like we are competitors still in some ways, right? So in the closed audit space. So big question here is Claim Signal, is that going to replace audit suites like Claims Monitor or like Team Think?
Yeah, right now, no. Our existing products really do serve a purpose in the marketplace of looking at closed claims audits. Technology-wise, nothing replaces the ability of a supervisor or someone looking at claims and understanding the full picture of what's happening. Our Claim Signal does, I think, a really good job of helping a supervisor And that's really how our Claim Signal product has really been developed. Is we saw in the marketplace kind of a hole between doing closed claims audits, or really gathering information as the claim is closed, and understanding how can that be then put into the operation to be able to improve it, or really stop leakage or stop opportunities of overpayment as they happen. So Claim Signal is really a coach for a supervisor or even for adjusters, and not necessarily an audit tool. You need to still have those closed claims audits to get kind of the full picture, as well as to kind of track overall metrics of quality within your organization. But really, Claim Signal is looking at open claims and understanding where things are not going to according to plan or going according to best practices, and really helping the supervisor identify those and then help the adjusters improve on that.
Yeah, and one of the ways that I think about it is if you go out to dinner and you're eating at a restaurant, you get your itemized receipt at the end of the night. You take a look at that and make sure you weren't charged for 3 beverages when you only had 2. If there's something wrong, you correct it there. Doesn't mean then you stop balancing your checkbook at the end of the month, or like checking your credit card statements. You need both. So checking your receipts is kind of like these open claim reviews, and then checking your balances and statements at the end of each month is really that quality assurance that we're both existing in. So you really, if you want to be optimal, you need both. And just because you're going to start checking your receipts more doesn't mean you stop checking your credit card statements here. So it's kind of how I like to talk about it or envision it here. So let's talk a little bit more then about how Claim Signal fits in an open claims environment exactly.
Yeah, what we have done with the Claim Signal product is really to try to, again, look at open claims handling and identify those areas where, based on a company's best practices, where things are not going according to plan. So taking in information around the claim, analyzing it, assessing, first it's assessing what best practices do we want to apply to our claims, and then analyzing based on what we're seeing within the claims, does this comply with what we want to have for best practices as an organization? And if it doesn't, what do we do with that information? And in a lot of cases, it's identifying and taking an action by the supervisor. It could be the adjuster taking an action and following up on certain things. But really, it's a proactive tool to help the supervisor or the adjuster be able to change their behavior on the claim, or really to kind of catch things on the claim that might be going in a wrong direction before it actually happens at the end of the claim. So to your analogy about getting the bill at the end of the night, you'd rather, if you didn't get the right drink early on, you want to understand that and talk to the waiter at the point of when you got that wrong drink, not at the end of the night where you're getting charged for that wrong drink at the end of the night with the bill, having a bill that you don't want to pay for. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you can see on the slide here, it's talking about the different phases, and I think people who work in the claims process can really see how this is going to integrate into their system quite well, and is going to be able to highlight those problems. So can you talk then a little bit more about some of the benefits that they're going to see from even analyzing these open claims?
Yeah, a couple of things we already touched on around identifying problem claims as they actually happen before they actually close is really the biggest thing. And really early intervention of claims. I know a lot of our customers do open file reviews, so that catches some of the things, but that's really on a sampling basis. And really what we're doing with Claim Signal is we're looking at all claims across a supervisor, across the organization, to really bubble up those claims that might have some issues. And that really translates very impactfully to the bottom line. So when we've talked with customers, leakage impact is what we all in the claims space are looking to really impact. So how can we really find those situations where we're not following best practices, rectify it, and pay what we owe, but not pay more than what we owe on those claims? So really reduce leakage areas. And then really a big benefit of Claim Signal is understanding and getting information on unstructured notes, unstructured data within the claim file, and then what are some of the actions that the supervisor can take on that unstructured data. And we'll get into a couple of just real quick case studies, but it's really maximizing a supervisor's time on the as they interact with both claims files as well as adjusters. So how can we maximize a supervisor's time? If supervisors are on this call, we all know from talking with customers, you get pulled in a number of different directions. So how can you maximize your time so that you're looking at claims that need help, but also giving time back to the supervisor so that they can help mentor adjusters and improve their performance going forward.
Yeah, and so I want to talk a little bit more, some more details around that. So, you guys have at Aon that consulting background. So you've been able to talk to customers about the benefits and improvements that they've seen here. So let's talk a little bit about more some of that data that you've collected, through consulting and what you've learned about the benefits that ClaimSignal has to offer.
Yeah, so a lot of our work has been across all lines of business, but just going to walk you through kind of a quick case study of the impact of really starting to reduce leakage at the time it happens, as opposed to just cataloging it. So a lot of our studies that we've done on the auto bodily injury line of business, we've seen between 11 and 13% of areas of leakage, and it can ranges from not contacting folks right after the loss, so that they go ahead and get an attorney. But it's also on the evaluation side, understanding, are we evaluating this claim properly for the injury as well as, the jurisdiction that we're in, and getting good settlement outcomes. So, that 11 to 13% translates into leakage, what we call from a consulting perspective, improvement opportunity, or IO. So we don't look at negatives leakage always gets kind of a negative connotation. We look at it really, this is an area for carriers to improve. It's an improvement opportunity, not really, yes, you are overpaying in some situations, but how can you improve to be a better claims organization? So if you have a $300 million paid loss in your company in that line of business, that roughly translates between 33 million to 39 million in paid loss that's leakage that's within the organization. So also really through our work in looking at the auto bodily injury line of business, we've really zeroed in on, there's about 20 root causes that really drive a lot of overpayment. And they range from kind of the obvious ones: contact, investigation, evaluation, and negotiation phases. So some of the things which I just talked about. And that really makes up 63% of all paid loss opportunities. So ClaimSignal really starts to attack those top root causes, identifying those areas where we're kind of having missteps within the claims organization, and how can we reduce those areas. So if we're able to really impact 63% of the overall paid loss, that translates to about 7 to 9% of paid loss impact. So again, using the example of a 300 million paid loss for a line of business, that translates between 20 to 24 million in really actual year-over-year reduction in paid loss, which is very impactful to the bottom line of an insurance company.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my goodness.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, those numbers are staggering. That's incredible. It's such a small mistake, little things that could happen. Just small, almost like honest type of mistakes. A process and a procedure, skipped here or there, can have such an impact. So, oh my gosh, it's great to see that this type of information is being captured somewhere. And so I know, leakage. Actually, I like the way you put it better. What is it?
Improvement opportunity.
Improvement offer. Oh my gosh, that's so much better than leakage.
Right.
We know this is a huge deal for these claims organizations, but there's probably some other benefits out there too as well that you might see through monitoring some of these open claims.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what we've seen across the industry, and folks that are on the call here probably understand, is that an integral part of a supervisor's job is looking at things on diary. So diarying things out and to kind of give you a reminder to look at this claim again at some later time. But really that process eats up a lot of time of a supervisor's day. So we've done time studies with a number of organizations that it's upwards of 35% of their day. So really almost 3 hours or 2.8 hours of a daily supervisor's time is compiled of looking at things on diary. Now, that's good if we stop leakage, right? But even in that time, you're only getting a sample of all the claims that you have kind of under your control as a supervisor. And really, we kind of equate it to you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. So you're trying to catch those claims where they might be going in the wrong direction, but you're trying to time it correctly based on the diaries that you've set up. So how could you really impact that time that a supervisor is spending and really focus them on those claims that they need to spend, that need to look at when they actually are going in the wrong direction. So that's what really Claim Signal is looking to impact, both on the paid loss side, as we talked about, reducing that improvement opportunity, but really giving back the supervisor 35% of their day so that they can focus in on those areas that really are impactful for changing the outcome of the claim. And what we're seeing with a lot of customers that are using this in the industry, we're seeing, I think, across the industry is a loss of experience. People are retiring, and how do we replace that experience? It's just not happening because there's not enough folks that are coming up through the ranks within the insurance profession to kind of fill that void. So a lot of companies are looking in the future as to how can I leverage the people that I have that are very experienced and kind of spread them around across more of our organization. So Claim Signal can actually do that. So really focus their time on those claims and those adjusters that need help. So increase the span of control potentially in the future, but really give them more time to spend more time with their adjusters to improve performance.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, 35% is a lot. I mean, and that's a huge statistic even pre-COVID, right? Like, let's take into account and consider everything that's happened in the world over the past 8 months. There's so many of us, I myself, working parent, my kids are at home constantly. My husband's here too. I would do anything to squeeze 10% more out of my day, let alone 35% more. That's huge. I mean, that's impactful then, but I think even today, that's even more impactful and even more important. So that's a phenomenal thing to learn. So we've talked a little bit about the data and the things behind the scenes here, but I want to actually get into Claim Signal now a little bit and show people a little bit of how it works and introduce them to the platform.
Yeah. So unlike kind of a traditional claims product on the auditing side, where really you have to do kind of a sampling of all your claims. What we're doing with Claim Signal is looking through all the claims, so 100% of the claims that are open, and even you'll see kind of from a statistical perspective, we can actually run it on all closed claims. We can get information on those claims, both from a structured data perspective, so understanding some of the loss run kind of basic values that are within the claim. And then really what's very impactful is getting unstructured data. So claims adjuster notes, statements, what little notes around diary, what's actually going on, and interpreting those within our algorithms and understanding from a best practice and how a customer wants to configure Claim Signal. We can then generate alerts to the supervisors or even down to the adjuster level to intervene in the claim, to take to take action as needed based on the situation that's being presented to them. So, and how customers are using our product right now is that we're getting kind of this information, the structured data and the unstructured data sent to us overnight, and then we generate the alerts and they're ready for a customer in the morning. So that's how we are kind of engaged with a lot of our customers right now. But we do have the ability to actually do that real time. And there's just more of an integration point to be able to do that. And what we're really trying to do with the product is we do realize that organizations to integrate and to give data to third parties, using a software takes time. So we've actually done very good at with the product is taking as minimal data as we can, data that is for both of our products are from a structured perspective. A lot of the loss run data that we get within Claim Signal and TeamThink is information that we're leveraging for Claim Signal, and then really just improving that with some unstructured data within the claim notes to kind of make that a minimal integration point, so that there's not a lot of time spent on integration, but giving us the information we need to be able to make the product very impactful for an organization.
Yeah, and so when you talk about the claims and then that this is analyzing, I want to go into a little bit of details about the types of claims that we're working on here. So let's go a little bit more into the exact types of claims that we're talking about here.
Yeah, so right now, Claim Signal is working on both personal and commercial auto claims. And specifically, we have alerts around auto property damage and auto bodily injury claims. And then we're expanding into the homeowner property claims line of business. We'll have that up and running by the end of the year. So the product itself is updated every 6 weeks. So we kind of go through a release cycle of new functionality and new alerts that are generated every 6 weeks. And in that 6 week cycle, we get feedback from customers on tweaking alerts that are out there, as well as improvements or generation of brand new alerts based on certain business needs that customers have. So, and what we have in place right now are really alerts that kind of fall into the whole, right from contact to the evaluation and the settlement of a claim. And within these different parts of the claim life cycle, we have alerts that have been generated or created within Claim Signal so that those can be enabled for customers going forward.
Nice. So today, personal and commercial auto, and then, like you see in this cycle here, basically all different phases of that claim cycle are being addressed here. So no, that's really great to hear. So once you're getting these alerts, it's looking into these different types of, these 7 different phases. Let's talk a little bit about the type of alert that you get and some detail into exactly how Claim Signal works.
Yeah, so how it works is, again, each alert has certain criteria that is built into it, and it's configurable by different clients of how you want those different alerts to work for you. But essentially, a supervisor, as you see from the screenshot here, will log into Claim Signal and have a list of alerts that are been sent to them. And then they can click on that alert, and then down below here, you'll see kind of a screenshot of what is represented in the specific alert. So in this case, we have identified a claimant, recorded statement is missing, and we need to take it. So what Claim Signal doesn't do is just, it's not a, I think in a lot of claim systems, you can click off an indicator saying that, yeah, I've made contact and move on. So what we're doing with Claim Signal is reading the claim notes. So we're looking at the quality of the contact. Do we leave a message and saying like, yeah, we made contact, but we were only leaving a message? Do we take, what we're doing with Claim Signals, we're looking to say, do we have a conversation with them? And then through the notes, what types of things that were included in the conversation? Do we actually talk about what happened in the conversation, in the accident? Were there any injuries? Those types of things. So it's really looking at the quality of that recorded statement. And if there are things that are not there that need to be, then maybe the adjuster should be following up. So for instance, if there's instances of injury and there's no ABI claim open for the claim, that's something that we might want to alert the supervisor around and open up an exposure around that. So the ability for the supervisor really to zero in on an issue that might be happening on the claim. We also have the ability for the supervisor to kind of look back and detect all the actions that Claim Signal has detected through the life of the claim. And it really is looking at kind of the life cycle, and it gives you the ability to, if you see on this kind of timeline here, the ability to click on certain parts of these actions and take you right to the notes, which will summarize exactly what happened within that action that was taken. So, and we by taking in information from your loss run, we understand that, did we take a statement from just the driver of the car? And if it wasn't just the driver, do we also need to take one of the passenger of the car, and because they're injured, or if there's any other people in the car? So it really kind of, it's not just a identification of statement should be taken or not. It's also looking at the quality of the interaction that might have happened through the adjuster with the claimant or insured, and looking at the quality of that. And if the quality wasn't great, then the supervisor needs to get involved and maybe to redirect the claim.
And so this is all information that you're getting right here in the dashboard. This is really granular details and really granular information. So let's talk a little bit more then. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond the notification, but you're actually providing some additional analytics as well. So you want to go ahead and talk a little bit about some of what you're able to learn through those analytics?
Yeah, so one of the big things that our customers that are using the product right now is the ability to unlock unstructured data. So really in the past, I think, and some of the folks that are on the phone that have claim systems, you can record, via checkboxes and via maybe actions to the adjuster when contact actually took place. But what we're looking at is quality contact. And then we're not just looking at it, and typically on a closed claim audit or even on an open claim audit, we're doing that as kind of a sample. So Claim Signal looks at all claims. So really what we can do is unlock some metrics that was previously unable to identify by the organization. So again, an example here would be, of all my claims, what is the percentage of those claims that are being contacted within 0 to 3 days, those that are over 3 days, 3 to 23 days, and then what are some of those things that are happening later? And then on the bottom here is the individual adjuster performance. So those folks that are on the phone that are using audit reviews or performance management reviews of your adjusters, and you typically would get, someone who's kind of maybe has middle of the road performance. Some of the excuses that we've always heard is that, you grabbed some of my claims and those were bad claims. And so that's why my overall score for my audit and my performance audit is kind of low. You don't get that with Claim Signal. So we're looking at all claims. So it's really kind of giving you a better sampling of what this person's doing for adjuster performance. So again, in this case, how well have they done contact? Have they been doing contact over time? And you can, as a supervisor, kind of look at that metric. So they were down at 1.33%, 1.33 days essentially on contact. It blipped up in July and August. Why is that? It could be operationally. Maybe we had some cats, and that could have maybe impacted the overall performance. But then we see a nice trend that's starting to happen again, where they're getting better at performance. So it's really kind of giving supervisors another piece of information that can help them coach adjusters on their specific performance that really do impact the outcome of the claim.
Yeah, maybe a global pandemic or something really weird like that on the earth, right? Yeah. And you never know. But no, that's really great. I love how you can dive into those details of the adjuster performance. So we've talked about, how we got here. We've talked about the benefits you can see from this. We've talked a little bit about how Claim Signal works. So I want to go now into actually, how do people make this operational? What is it that, people need in order to be able to feed these alerts and start working in Claim Signal?
Yeah, so what we're really trying to be cognizant of with the Claim Signal product is to, not make it like a claim system replacement, right? We know that IT projects can take a lot of time. I know with even third-party products, it takes a long time to integrate. So what we're trying to do is leverage with our existing customers a lot of the information that you're already sending us. So loss run information that we're getting for our quality tools, we leverage that. And then the kind of other information that we ask on top of that is just claim notes. And customers we're working with have found that that's not really a big ask to be able to provide that. And so we get that information. We typically get that kind of in a daily batch at night. And we're also compatible with Guidewire, Duck Creek, and we've made this work on other kind of homegrown systems. So whatever claim system that a carrier has, really the basis of the information of some of the kind of high-level loss run information, and as well as the claim notes, is all we need to be able to have Claim Signal work.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. So you can see how it really fits into the existing workflow. It's not like, a whole bunch of things need to be, customized and right. added to, which is really helpful, I think. So let's talk about some of the details, right? Like the whole implementation process here. Let's talk a little bit about exactly what that looks like and how much time it takes.
Yeah, so with our customers, we're really kind of three phased process that we can undertake. Phase one is really getting that extra data that we need to make claims signal work. And we establish those feeds that come on a daily basis to our claim signal tool. And then we tweak and calibrate our models that we have on the alerts to what the client wants. So for instance, let's say for contact, you only want to have those generated after there's no contact within 3 days, or maybe it could be 2 days or 1 day, whatever kind of best practice you as a client would want to have, you can calibrate those alerts accordingly. So that kind of takes about 2 weeks to 4 weeks. Really kind of the long pole in the tent is our ability to get the data from a customer and getting that kind of that feed up and running. So once we get that claim signal up and running, we then launch to kind of a initial user set to get feedback on the alerts that we're generating. And what we do there is to kind of look at how are these generating in your environment based on the alerts on how they're set up. Are there tweaks that you want to make based on certain best practices that you have or certain situations? So let's say for a recorded statement, I need to get a recorded statement, but in this situation, it's a minor. And I wouldn't require my adjuster to get a recorded statement of a minor. So in that case, we have information around that it's a minor. We would not generate an alert for that situation. So it's those kind of tweaks that we take back to our team and tweak the models accordingly. And then we launch the product out to the general user public. It could be, again, supervisors or adjusters that can use the tool. So that whole process can, again, take anywhere between a month or month and a half or 2 months, depending on, again, the integration and the feedback that we're getting from a client. And then the third phase is really integration to your claim system. So if you want to have some of these alerts be then put back and integrated into your claim system, we can do that. We can do that even on a real-time basis if that's needed. And that's really just scoped out based on what kind of claim system you have and then the complexity involved in doing that. So really phase three is kind of an accordion time frame based on what a client would want to do.
Gotcha. Okay, no, so we're talking, there's some variability there,
Yeah.
between the amount of time based upon the size of the organization and, and some things like that. So, but generally, month and a half to 2 months, ballpark, you can be up and ready to go, and then integration
Right.
beyond that if you want as well.
Yeah, and the beauty of the product is that we release a new version of the product every 6 weeks. So in that release, we're generating alerts that we get feedback from clients on. And so there could be alerts that we get feedback from one client that would be helpful for other clients, and we build that into the product itself. So and there are other things that are maybe specific to you as a client that you want to tweak, then we take that feedback and make improvements to the product, and then you get that in the next release. So.
Gotcha. Okay, no, that's really great. So we've been able to cover some of the details then here, about the history, how you're able to get it, the amount of time that it's going to take for us to get it. We've tried to cover as much as we can at a high level, but we know that everyone out there does have some questions. And so we are actually going to open it up to the questions from everybody. So as a reminder, in the little GoToWebinar box on the right side of your screen, there is the ability to ask some questions. We've actually got several already, which is so great to see. So we're going to pick a few of these, and go through them. So if you do have more, feel free to go ahead and put them there. Let's see, let me go ahead and I'll pick one here. So as discussed at the Aon conference last summer, an early adopter of an early adopter of Claim Monitor X promoted the claim signal premise of proactive. Will this now be managed in the claim signal product in a separate system?
Well, they are, again, as we talked about before, our existing products will still be needed for kind of closed claim audits, if that's the genesis of the question. But claim signal really is, that person, before we had a product that was similar to this, it was called Claims Monitor.x, CMX, but now it's claim signal, a platform is the new product that we're putting enhancements based on working with Athenium going forward. So it's a similar product, but it's enhanced based on work with Athenium going through the partnership, and will continue to be enhanced going forward.
Yeah, we're adding from Athenium, our data analytics side of things, our deep knowledge in artificial intelligence, things like that, to really help kind of drive out more information out of ClaimSignal. Does Guidewire integrate with or does ClaimSignal integrate with Guidewire's Claim Center? I think we talked about Guidewire integration.
Yep. Yeah, it does. And in fact, a lot of members on our team have had a lot of experience working with Guidewire and then integrating the products to Guidewire. So in fact, Athenium is a certified integrator with Guidewire. A lot of experience on the Athenium team as well on integrating their products and this product to Guidewire. So.
Mm-hmm. A couple questions here I'm seeing about sort of the alerts that you get. So for the action days, what triggers the clock to start?
Yeah, so it really depends on the specific alert. So again, I'll go back to kind of the recorded statement. So really some of those have been created based on a customer's best practices. So if you made contact, and if it's certain stipulations that say it's not a rear end accident, it's a disputed liability type of situation, we should be getting a recorded statement. And let's say specifically for contact, if we're not making contact within 3 days, then there could be an issue as to why that's the case. So in some of those cases, that's why we'd get the alert. But that can be tweaked by specific customers, up or down, depending on what you want to achieve with those specific alerts. So each alert has its own set of criteria for why it's going to be triggered, and that can be changed by clients based on their own internal processes or best practices that they want to follow to generate some of those alerts.
Okay. Yeah, I think configurable is like the really big part there, right? Is really able to customize or configure the things that you want to see.
Yeah, because that's one of the things that we've learned over the years, and even in talking with Athenium and their clients, is that each company is unique. They have their own unique way of doing business. So we want to kind of capture that within the product so that there's some variability that you as a customer can have with the product. But there's also kind of the standardness of how the product works and how it will work for the industry that is kind of the main standard piece of the product that we want to keep. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. And it's it's the same shoe, but it can be different colors for everybody. We can have some of that variability there. How much of the alerts generated are out of the box from ClaimSignal versus that require configuration?
Yeah. So all of our alerts that are out of the box can be configurable, and all of our alerts that we have out of the box can work for all clients. It's really just from talking with the client to understand which alerts do they want to activate and which ones they don't. And in fact, you can activate alerts, and let's say for specific adjusters, you want to activate those, but you don't want to see them. You have the ability to kind of turn those off for those, maybe some of those adjusters that you don't want to see alerts because you trust their handling of the claim. So the customization, really, that's through getting feedback from the customer and then tweaking those alerts as needed specifically for them. And then we're developing new alerts on a 6-week cycle so that we're talking to customers, understanding what their business needs, and incorporating other alerts into their full suite of alerts over time. So yeah, out of the box they're configurable, but they're kind of a standard. They're for the auto bodily injury line and auto property damage, running from contact all the way to settlement. But we're developing new alerts on a 6-week cycle. So.
No, that's great. Here's a question that I really like scrolling through here. It says, what are the capabilities of this product to analyze documents attached to files? So specifically information that isn't documented, notes or financials, but hosted in a document warehouse like OnBase, et cetera.
Yeah, so kind of at the outset, we haven't kind of taken the step to look at documents and to read through those documents. We're really kind of focused on looking at some of the unstructured data as well as the structured data, because we do realize sending documents to us takes time. There's integration in being able to do that. So we're consciously not asked for that information, but we're open to start to get that information if the client's willing to do that. It will just only improve the alerts and improve the number of alerts that a customer can receive based on how they want to use the claim signal product. So kind of out of the gate, what we've done with the product is to say, here's a standard set of data that will get you up and running. If you want to give us more data, we're open for that. The more data we get, the better we can be at helping your operation. But we do realize that getting more data puts a strain on your organization to give us that data. So it's a balancing act of what we can do with the tool to make it very impactful. And then what are the things that you as a company want to invest in as far as that integration so that we can improve the product going forward, make it catch more things that you want to catch through the operation.
Yeah, I think that's important to note. There's some clear distinctions there, but some interesting ways. Once again, there's lots of different ways that you're able to make this work for you. And I think that's one of the big things that we're able to do through this partnership is really provide those abilities and have more of that flexibility in some of those areas.
Right.
I am seeing a lot of questions about sort of next steps, so how do I request a demo, or if I want, additional information. So I'm going to go ahead and put this information up here now so people can jot down, website information, email information. We're also going to be contacting everybody here at the end of the webinar, letting you have copies of the slides and reaching out, so you can reach us that way as well. I probably wanted to go through another one or two questions. Mike, I'm not sure if you can see the questions or not as well. If you can, if there's any that jump out at you that you feel are, particularly, more interesting to answer than some of the others, feel free here. But I can keep scrolling through here. Let's see.
I apologize, I can't see the questions, but
no, that's okay. Oh, here's a great one. So when do you anticipate Claim Signal will work with commercial property and work comp claims?
Yeah, so on the commercial property side, it's probably the middle of next year to kind of look at that. One of the things that we're for property, the homeowner property piece, is to make sure that we're working to get the alerts that we've generated for that working correctly. And some of the pieces of the commercial property process are very similar to the homeowner property process. So we can easily leverage that over, but really we don't want to just kind of roll out homeowner and then just move right into commercial property, just because we do have customers and realize that that's a need within the marketplace. But we want to kind of over the next 4 to 6 months make sure that we're creating alerts that are impactful for the property line, homeowner line of business, and then move into the commercial line. So.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note too that, as we're going through this new partnership and creating this new product together, it's kind of, the premise a little bit of, the first who come on board and the first ones that are able to join us are going to help drive a little bit of that direction as well as to where we go next. So, we have some set ideas of where we'd like to go and how we can build out those capabilities. But what's really, I think, going to drive a lot of that is hearing from people who are participating here today and have joined us here today. For those that are interested, where is the vast majority of the interest? If we're going to move to a different type of business, but actually there's a huge need out there for something else, well, I think that calendar can be changed just a little bit. So
yeah, and I think the other part of the question was workers' comp. So yeah, workers' comp is probably further down the line that we would kind of look at that line of business, just because we know there's a lot of data already out there, and there's actually some solutions on the workers' comp side that kind of take some of the personal information of that data to integrate and to do some things on with that. We're kind of more focused on the business process than kind of getting personal information or medical information at this point. So it's something that's on our roadmap, but I'd say it's further down than the auto line, as well as the homeowner and commercial property line. So.
Okay, great. Okay, we'll do one last question, and then
Sure.
we'll wrap things up and let people know once again how they're able to get more information. So, final question here for the afternoon: what makes ClaimSignal different from a claims handling predictive analytics scoring model that will provide similar benefits in severity, leakage, and productivity?
Yeah, I think what this is more than just a scoring model. So there's, obviously there's a way to score your claims based on some predictive natures, but what actions do you take? Just because it scores high on that, it's going to go to have a poor outcome, doesn't really give the supervisor an idea of, or the adjuster, what to do to be able to make it to course correct. So some of the things that we're doing within ClaimSignal is we're identifying those things, but what are the things that they need to take, or the steps they need to take to be able to avert the outcome of that. So I think that really kind of leverages both of our experience and understanding here are the issues that are within the claims process that we see, but also we've got experience in trying to solve some of those things. So it's not just identifying and saying, yeah, this is an at-risk claim, but what are the things that are action steps that a supervisor or an adjuster needs to take to be able to mitigate those at-risk claims.
Yeah, I like how it takes that, one step further. So
Right.
just providing, additional information to you, letting you know, what those next steps are, rather than, and then you get consistency in that as well, what those next steps are and how the follow-up happens. So that's great. Okay. Excellent. Well, this has been a phenomenal 53 minutes. I hope everyone here has been able to learn a ton of information, learn a little bit about Aon and Athenium Analytics and this new partnership we have and what we're presenting to the world here with ClaimSignal. I know we're really, really excited about it. I've tried to stand still and not jump up and down too much as we talk about some of the details and the science behind it, the benefits and what you're able to learn. So hopefully everyone out there is just as excited as we are. So thank you so much to all of you for being here, for participating. Mike, thank you so very much for joining us today.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, this has been really great. We've been able to learn a lot. So, so as we talked about, by the end of the week here, we're actually going to reach out to everybody. So we're going to be sending you an email that's going to be coming to you here by the end of the week, and it's going to include the video of this webinar. It'll have probably a PDF version copy of the slides that you've seen here. So if you have any more questions, you can go through those, as well as all of our contact information. So you can reach out to us if you want to request demos or you have any additional questions. So up on the screen here, we do have, email addresses, websites to go to for more information as well. A lot of avenues out there to, get some questions answered. And so we're really hoping that we hear from you. We're really excited to bring this to the world, and I hope you guys are all just as excited as we are here. So thank you so much for joining us today. Give everyone a few minutes back before I'm sure they have to go to their next meeting here.
Right.
This has been great. Thank you all so very much.
Yeah, thanks, Cyrena, and thanks everyone for joining. Appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.